Thursday night, we see the first matchup between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat, and I think the Denver Nuggets will win the NBA Finals. There's a ton to talk about in today's video, guys, so be sure to stick to the end to hear both sides of the spectrum. The Miami Heat have been the underdogs in every series that they've been in, other than for the first game against the New York Knicks. I believe that they were favored. Regardless, what the Miami Heat has done this season and postseason in specific has been nothing short of remarkable, with injuries to Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero, and obviously Jimmy Butler has not looked the healthiest. They have prevailed and made no excuses, finishing business in the Eastern Conference. As for the Denver Nuggets, they handled their first round matchup in 5 games. They were the underdogs against the Phoenix Suns. They handled them in 6 games, and they were heavily underdogs against the Los Angeles Lakers, which they eventually swept. Which brings me to my first point as to why I think the Denver Nuggets will win this finals. There's a 6 or 7 day rest difference between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat, and like I mentioned just not long ago, the Miami Heat have had a ton of injury issues this postseason, while the Denver Nuggets have looked a majority healthy. A grueling 7-game series where you once held a 3-0 lead shows that yes, the Miami Heat do have mental strength. However, it's the playoffs, and like Jimmy Butler and LeBron James have both said in the past, it's the playoffs. At this point in the season, everyone's playing with little nagging injuries and nobody's at 100%. One thing I think is going to be very interesting for the Miami Heat is how well the zone possibly gives the Nuggets issues. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch Nikola Jokic try to cipher through and make the right reads and or decisions in those moments, because we all obviously know Nikola Jokic is an extremely high IQ basketball player. However, the Miami Heat by Eric Spoelstra are one of the best head coach teams in all of basketball, and we really saw that in the previous series in the Eastern Conference. In this postseason, it's been very interesting because on the Nuggets side of things, Malone has been coaching against Chris Finch, who's an up-and-coming, really solid coach for the Timberwolves. Then you have Monty Williams, who has one of the highest win percentages in the NBA over the last 3 seasons. I actually believe he does have the highest win percentage in the NBA over the last 3 seasons. But then you go to face rookie coach Darvin Ham. All of those guys have been combined coaching for 4 years, or 5 years maybe if you're counting this season. And then for the Miami Heat side of things, you have them facing up against Bud, who just got fired. You have them facing off in the second round against Thibs, who is kind of working on changing his coaching strategy. And then in the last round, you face off against a rookie head coach who's the same age as Jimmy Butler and Joe Mazzulla. Now we're seeing Spo and Malone go head to head, and I think that's going to serve to be a very, very interesting type of coaching masterclass and matchup. The next thing that I think is going to be interesting is the Aaron Gordon on Jimmy Butler matchup. Aaron Gordon held, I believe, LeBron to 50 or 60% from the field on possessions, Kevin Durant to 38% from the field on possessions, and Karl Anthony Towns 36% from the field on possessions, where Aaron was the primary defender. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he does with that Jimmy matchup, assuming he is the one who receives it. And then to flip the script, I wonder if the Miami Heat are going to opt to match up Bam Adebayo on Nikola Jokic as the primary defender, or if they're going to try to put someone else on Jokic and then have Bam fall on the drop, because size is definitely going to be an issue in this series for the Miami Heat. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. is taller than everyone on the Heat other than Bam Adebayo, so who is guarding Michael Porter Jr.? And if Jimmy's ankle's acting up, is he going to get that Jamal Murray assignment for the entirety of the series? If not, who is? Because I can tell you right now, if Jamal Murray is being guarded by Kyle Lowry, he will back him down and use his amazing post moves and footwork every time. And if Caleb Martin is opted to guard him, it's going to be an interesting matchup. But Caleb is not a great of a defender, as we have seen in the past matchups for the Denver Nuggets. The Heat do have the advantage of, like I said in the beginning, being the underdogs. They were not favored in any series, and this trend definitely continues, while on the opposite side of things, the Denver Nuggets, for only the second time this playoffs, obviously in the first round against the Timberwolves, they were favored. But in this series, they are favored for the first time since the first round because, like I said, against the Suns and the Lakers, both of them were favored against Denver. Jamal Murray might be the X factor in this one, and I honestly think he's going to have an electric series because, like I said, I really don't know who's going to be matching up with him that well. And speaking of people that are X factors, does Tyler Hero come back? And if he does, what does his contribution to the Miami Heat look like? Are we talking about 15 to 25 minutes off the bench? Does he get inserted in the starting lineup? In my opinion, I would say no. Caleb Martin has been leagues and bounds better than most of the players on the Miami Heat. And last night on the call for that Game 7, Reggie Miller said it himself that he believes Caleb Martin has been the most consistent player on the Miami Heat. And honestly, I don't really agree with most of what the call says, but I do agree with that. Caleb Martin has been, like I said, leaps and bounds better than every single role player on the Miami Heat. He's looked like the best transition player. He's crashing the glass extremely well. He shoots the three ball like no other. And honestly, man, the Miami Heat are going to have to make a big decision this offseason with how much money he's going to get paid. And it seems like Caleb Martin is doing everything that Tyler Hero did, except a little bit better. And Caleb and Gabe Vincent both have been leaps and bounds better than everyone on the Miami Heat at creating their own shot. And honestly, that even kind of goes for Jimmy Butler. It feels like Jimmy Butler this series had a lot of high games and a lot of low games. And that's why a lot of people were debating whether or not Caleb Martin should have been the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. The poll votes actually came back and said that it was 5-4 in favor of Jimmy Butler, so just one vote away. But all in all, I think that this is going to be a really interesting series. I just think the Denver Nuggets have too much talent, and I know the Miami Heat have heard that for 3 series in a row that X, Y, and Z have more talent than them. But you guys got to just realize this Nuggets team is not one to be, treaded lightly. And this Nuggets team, as of right now, the time I'm recording this video, they have no asterisks. The Milwaukee Bucks miss Giannis for 2.5 games, and Coach Bud's brother dies in the middle of the series. The second series, Julius Randle is playing on a softball ankle, and he missed Game 1. The third series, the Celtics, they just collapsed. And you could say that, Jason Tatum hurt his ankle at the beginning of Game 7. I'm not really one to... They still had to go on the road to beat the Celtics. So it's incredibly impressive what the Miami Heat have done. But this Denver Nuggets team has Jamal Murray, a capable 25 to 30 point per game scorer, Aaron Gordon, a lockdown defender, Michael Porter Jr., someone who can shoot the lights out and has been playing above average defense and being on the glass very well, KCP, who is a lights out 3-point shooter, Nikola Jokic, the best center in the NBA, followed by Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and Christian Brown off the bench, all amazing talents who are going to make a lot of money one day in free agency. Jeff Green, maybe not so much. He's made his money in his NBA career, but I digress. What do you guys think? I got the Denver Nuggets in 6 games for the series, maybe even 5. It might be crazy to say, but I just do. If the Miami Heat win, shout out Mr. Infiester for leaving me a DM in my Discord, just kind of letting me know in a pretty interesting manner that the Denver Nuggets are going to lose the series. Go Heat, go Denver. I just really want to see an amazing series, but I do have the Denver Nuggets winning. Let me know in the comments if you made it this far. I appreciate your support as always. Have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.